Michelle in review. Michelle in review. Michelle in review. We got to just get that recorded by somebody. I should just record it so I don't have to actually, or maybe I should, I don't know. Wow, it's already a ball of chaos here at the beginning. Welcome to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is JD. Who's here with me?
It's Michelle, and I love balls, especially balls of chaos.
The balls of chaos.
Ball lightning. Ball lightning's real cool.
Ball
Volleyballs.
lightning. Ball lightning.
Basketballs.
It's going to make ball lightning right here in the studio. Why do I remember that? Here's what I remember, Michelle. I remember an episode of The Late Show with David Letterman on CBS in the 90s where there was some sort of science guy who was going to be on the show doing all sorts of... No, it was this other dude.
Science guy.
Yeah, this other dude who was a frequent guest on Letterman, and he did like crazy entertaining things with science. Like he's the guy that I first saw dip his hand in molten lead and come out unscathed, all because he had made sure his hand was really, really wet before he did it. Because the heat of the molten lead flash vaporizes the water and creates a protective cloud around your hand just briefly, and so as long as you pull it back out right away, you're fine. And anyway, David Letterman, to bring it all back around, for some reason, that one episode, he was just the whole episode before the guy came out, is like, he's going to make ball lightning right here in the studio. And he would say it with emphasis every time. Ball lightning! And so...
And did he?
Yes, actually, he created ball lightning in the studio. It was pretty dope.
Good.
Anyway, that's a random
dope.
thought that I had. If this is your first time tuning into a We Watch Shudder episode, yes, it is always like this, and this is an extra special one because this is our monthly How the Fuck Much Did Michelle Consume This Month episode. It's, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff that we just didn't talk about on the podcast, and Michelle has an insane amount of stuff typically to talk about. Michelle, I'm just going to turn this over to you. You take it away.
Yeah. Well, as people know, May was an insane month for me.
Yay!
I was in Vegas for 9 days. That definitely cut into my ability to watch or consume any content. I ran a fan suite and had 2 different panels at a local convention, CoreCon. And then I got just absolutely fucking demolished by projects at work. So it was definitely many hours.
And didn't you also have finals for school?
Oh yeah, and I had finals. Yeah, I totally forgot about finals. It has been insane. That said, I gave myself grace. I did not care how many things I consumed throughout the month, and I just let it be. So I'll give you the number in a second, but in case people don't know, my standard is that I have to consume 60 pieces of media. That can include movies, books, and then TV shows and miniseries. And what drives JD crazy is that I only count 1 point for each season of a TV show because I just can't get into the like tiny, like how many episodes. If there's like a gray area of like, oh, my numbers are low, but there's 5 things in the TV show and miniseries category, then I can be like, that probably was like 20 extra movies.
Yeah, I just want to be clear. I don't get frustrated. I just add it for emphasis. Like, keep in mind, when she says 60 pieces of media, that might actually be like 80 or 90 pieces of media, depending on like how many of those were TV shows.
Usually,
how many?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild, insane.
Yeah. So that said, for May, 0 books. I'm in the middle of a ton of books, so we'll talk about I still have things to talk about in the book section, but 0 completed. I can only mark them as a point the month that I complete them. 0 TV shows or miniseries.
Ooh.
40 movies.
40 movies. Even with everything else that was going on, you still found time to watch 40 movies, Michelle?
Yeah. Yeah.
And is that
so less than usual.
Remind me, is that in addition to the ones we watched for the show or including the ones we watched for the show?
That includes the ones that we watched for the show.
Okay. Yeah, including ones that we watched for the show, I think I watched 5 movies this month.
Wow. That's a big number for you, though.
Oh, shut up.
Sometimes
it is not.
Sometimes it's like 2 or 3.
That's an average.
Well, lately.
Yeah. I did go kind of crazy for the first part of the year, and like through the beginning of May, I watched like 60 movies in 4 months or so, and then I've only watched a few since. But
Yeah, remember the blog series you started that lasted a month?
well, it was not a month, Michelle. It was like 7 issues, and it was because, look, if I'm being frank, those movies were just not doing it for me. So
JD watches Tubi, but does not always enjoy Tubi.
I will of course immediately say that one of those few things that I saw this month was Sinners, which I'm gonna have a shit pile to say about when we get there. I know you finally got to see it as well, and you're probably gonna have some things to say. But yeah,
A whole shit pile worth.
it was a hell of a month. I had to take Mom to the emergency room for a little while. I did positive news. I did start a new job that's going pretty well. That's pretty all right. Pretty
And then you lost
satisfied
that same
about
job,
that.
but now work a different job in that same company.
It's technically what it was is there were 3 different positions in the job that I was doing. There's the OTR driver, the in-town driver, and the hybrid driver, and they just eliminated the hybrid drivers, so we just have the OTR drivers and the in-town drivers.
Okay.
I was doing that hybrid position. This was more just it triggered that memory of just like, oh yeah, I got 0 notice contract cancellation, and then 0 notice the company you work for shut down, and then all this other shit. Life isn't real, guys. I am a sim and none of you exist. You're all NPCs, and my player is a fucking asshole.
I hope I'm an NPC, because usually that means you can't kill me or you'll turn off certain quest lines.
Right, but also here's the irony is I believe it is that sort of situation, but everybody else is an NPC to me, but each one of those NPCs is the PC to themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
so like
that's how I feel. You're
right,
the NPC.
right,
So like
yeah.
you're an NPC
No, you're-
explaining this to me.
No, you're an NPC.
Yeah. No, you're an NPC.
No, you're an... Okay, this is going to get weird
in
real
case
quick.
people don't know, it's non-playable character.
Oh, I have I have another broken tooth in my mouth. If that to put it all.
good.
Oh yeah, because
Love that for you.
Love those luxury bones. That are
Yep.
not remotely important and worthy
Optional
of being
skeleton
covered.
bits.
Right, exactly. It's not like people regularly die from severe infections they get from open wounds in their mouths, but it's whatever.
Yeah. I had a really, really bad one when I was in college. Well, the first time I'm in college again, but
Yeah.
it was real bad. It was
Yeah.
an emergency.
It's good times. Anyway, look, guys, are we always this depressed? Yes. Are we always this depressing? No. But let's talk about some movies and stop talking about all the awful, huh?
Yeah, that
So
sounds good to me.
let me see, Michelle. So you didn't do any books this month. We didn't get any TV series. I forget. Was there anything significant in video games that you were going to talk about this month?
Ooh, I don't have video games as its own category, but I did play the entirety of Control 100% with all the achievements. Admittedly, I had tried playing Control like a year or 2 ago because my coworker was like, it has one of the coolest sequences I've ever played in a video game. I need you to play it just to get to that part. And I got so motion sick immediately every time I tried playing it. So what I had to do in order to get through it was I turned on every accessibility option that they had, like the aim assist, the insane aim assist, the locking onto an enemy, faster reload, all of that in order to be able to play it, because I kept being like, I'll click this setting on and then I'll try. Nope, I'm getting queasy. We're gonna add another setting, and by the end I had every setting in that game on because I was so sick, but it was worth it for the story.
This is what I love about those settings in modern video games is I appreciate that they are there. It's just wild to me that to me the default should be they're all on and you opt to turn them off, right? Not they're all off and you opt to turn them on. That's just me because frankly I suck at video games. So, but
You'll never get to enjoy Control then.
If I like video games that like I mean, they're video games in the sense that you're playing them on a computer screen, but it's like magic. I play magic on the computer. But
I will
anyway.
be, after we're done recording, I am starting the point and click adventure, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. So I'm really excited about that.
Wait, it's called what?
I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It's based on the short story of the same name.
And it's a point and click adventure?
Yeah.
Where can I find this? Is it on Steam?
Oh, it's on Steam. It absolutely is. Are you familiar with the poem, which was written by Harlan Ellison?
I think I've heard the name
Or not
before,
poem, story.
and I certainly know Harlan Ellison. And no, I hear point and click adventure. I'm like, that's something that I could do. And if you're going to do it, maybe I can do it too. And then I would have something to
Ooh.
talk about next time.
Yes, you absolutely should, because I am starting it tonight.
Point-
I've been in a funk, so I need to play it.
Point and click adventure is definitely my speed. Anyway,
And fun fact, part of the thing, it's not included in my completed things, but Terabytes is a thing that I had backed on GoFundMe a while ago, and it's basically a documentary about horror video games.
That's
very in-depth.
the In Search of Darkness people, right?
Yep, same people. Yep, so they did a very, very extensive 5-episode thing, and I watched the first 2 because they dropped early for me, but I haven't finished it, and they talked about I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, and it's been on my list for a while, and then them going through it, I was like, oh shit, so the one on Steam is the original from like the 90s, I think it was, and so it is like the like original OG game, and it looks fucking great. So
Wait,
I'm starting that tonight.
This is an old game?
This is an old game. Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was like a relatively new thing.
No, it just looks real good.
I have no mouth and I must scream. All right, cool.
Yeah, the short story fucked me up.
Okay, so ultimately then, if I'm parsing this all down, that means we're going to have horror in the after times. We're going to have horror in the before times. I'm guessing we're going to have some non-horror in there.
Yep.
And we're going to have some news.
Yep. And I do have some literature. I just can't count it as
just not-
completed points.
Oh, okay.
They're not done. So
So-
they'll be done next month.
I imagine we're going to start with the news.
Yeah, we'll do news first.
Do it.
So, in the news, that's my news sound. Breaking news. For upcoming movies in June, there are only 2 things as of June 7th that I am looking forward to watching in June. Kind of typical that middle of the summer we don't have as many exciting things coming out, but the 2 that I'm really looking forward to, 28 years later, June 20th, 28 years later, the weekend of my birthday, and the day before the Darkest Day of Horror Film Festival in Fargo, 28 years later, finally gets released. And 28 days later is one of my favorite films of all time.
28 years later is on the 20th?
Yes.
Shit.
Yeah.
I should probably go down to the theater with some flyers.
Very smart. Because, yes, that one's going to be real good.
I bet I know what the other one is that you're excited about.
Ooh, what do you think it is?
Is it Bring Her Back?
No, because that already came out.
Oh, but it was a June release, right?
No, it was May 30th.
Oh,
I have to go
shit.
verify, but
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Fair enough then.
Yeah.
What is the other June title?
The other one, June 27th, The Sound, which is a rock climbing horror film. And they're trying to climb up some rocks, and it seems like it's going to give you insane vertigo and fear, a lot like the movie Fall did. And it's just going to be like these insane angles and very upsetting. And yeah, the IMDb, I don't know what the horror element is going to be, if it will be supernatural, if it will be just like the earth doing earth things, and like, is there an earthquake? I have no idea. I refuse to watch the trailer. I don't know. All I know is that I'm very excited for a rock climbing horror movie. And I hope it's not dumb.
This is, and as usual, a big part of the reason we do this episode, at least for me, is Michelle knows about all the shit that I have never even heard of. And I just did a quick Google while you were talking there, and yeah, this looks interesting. I'm literally fighting myself right now to not watch the trailer, so I'm just going to go ahead and close that tab so it's not tempting me anymore. But no, that seems like says this description calls it a science fiction thriller, which sounds like we're trying very, very hard to not call it horror because we don't want to call it horror.
But I also thought maybe it's fucking aliens.
Oh, well,
you're rock climbing and a UFO shows up and you're like, get away, trying to kick this alien while attached to the face of a gigantic rock, and you're like, scat, go on, get. Like to an alien on the side of a cliff. Get on, go. Yeah.
Get on out here.
So it could be aliens. No one's saying it's not aliens yet.
Well,
so it could be aliens. Yeah.
Could always be aliens.
Those are my two.
Sweet.
It could. It could always be aliens.
Yeah, it's maybe even robot aliens.
Oh shit.
Now
you're really talking. There's a word for those. That's actually like a theory of a type of alien. I forgot what they're called.
We got
the grays, the greens, the men in black.
I imagine they're called robot aliens.
No, there's an actual. It's like how the reptilians are a very specific thing, and they're not just lizard people. Anyway, robot aliens.
They're not just lizard people?
No.
Oh, okay.
They're reptilians. Wow. Okay. What was that? Was that a firecracker?
No, I'm fidgeting because I'm feeling a little weird. There it was again. I got at the store at the Walmarts the other day in the clearance aisle for all of 50 cents. I got this little guy. Is like an Iron Man, a little Iron Man toy, but then he makes noise when you pull him. He gets tall. He got like two expandy things, and now he's tall.
Oh man, I love the idea of Iron Man going whoop like Inspector Gadget.
and then I mean, obviously it has to be there for the expansion and contraction to work, but because there's this giant hole in the bottom, it makes cool noise. And
I thought you were gonna say you can use it as a bong.
Well, I mean. You could. I'm not going to because it's Iron Man. Tony Stark doesn't want you to smoke weed out of his head.
Have you ever asked him?
No, but that's... Anyway, Michelle, sorry I fidgeted with my toy.
No, that's okay. Just from where I just saw a flash of red and yellow, and I was like, did you buy a fucking firework? What is that?
You know, I was just looking at myself in the video screen here, which is something that nobody listening can do, so this is really entertaining podcasting. But it occurs to me that you can always tell that I'm in an interesting place with my current mental health and stress situation when I decide to go down to just the mustache.
Oh,
it's like
I thought maybe you were preparing for a film role.
No, it seems I'm just making this realization now because it's a thing I've done a couple of times before, and in my memory I'm just like, oh. Now I know that
JD's got a mustache.
It's my tell. It's my tell. He's in a rough spot. He only shaved half his face.
I like that though. I like that you have a way of like really just like letting people not like know.
Now I'm gonna, but I wasn't doing it on purpose. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, but now you're gonna be so aware of it, and you're gonna make yourself even more anxious.
This is the therapy portion of our episode for those of you who have never tuned in before. Yeah, we talk about the shit happening in our lives. Guys, I have a big film festival in 2 weeks. Have I talked about it?
No.
No, never. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. That's for later. Michelle, continue.
There were only 2 times in May where my husband had to remind me that I had been wearing the same clothes for 3 days. So
only twice?
Only twice.
Wow.
I work from home, so that's part of the issue is like if I'm not leaving the house, but I make an effort to change my clothes every day, and I did not.
Here's my question then, and this is what happens when you're somebody who is so painfully focused on words. Yeah. What you said was, my husband only had to remind me twice. But how many other times did you make it to 3 days but then got yourself out of it before he had to remind you?
Oh, several.
Okay.
There There were definitely several days of 3-day, like, I have been wearing this
See,
for too long.
that's also important to me then, because if you only got there twice and he had to tell you both times, that seems a little rough. But if you got there but pulled yourself back out of it 7 or 8 times and you only needed the assist a couple, that's a winning month as far as I'm concerned. I bet your therapist would think the same. Is she still listening to these?
I hope so, because I am making that lady money if she is. Yeah, I will shower and then put on the same clothes, so that does not help. Like, you would think,
wow.
shower, put on fresh clothes. But I go, I only wore this for 3 hours yesterday. This is essentially my pajamas, and I didn't sweat. That's my rule of thumb. If I didn't sweat, it's not dirty.
I have a...
You grow up poor, this is how you wind up.
Well, sure, but also, I myself have, I have weird shit with my sense of smell, and for some reason, and I know it's the same for everybody, but it seems to be significantly more intense for me, is especially when I shower, when I first come out, so many things that I smell are so much more intense, right? Because I've been in the shower and had all the soap and steam and everything in my nose. And I am a big fella, so I'm kind of sweaty sometimes. And I could never bring myself to put those clothes back on after a shower.
That's the difference.
Oh
if
my
you
God!
Sweat, I didn't sweat those 3 days.
Once now making it to the shower is a struggle. So so more days than you would care to admit, because that's depression.
Yeah.
But once I make it, things are pretty good for a little while.
Yeah. We're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel if I'm back to regular showers.
Yes, it's I
love showers.
Yeah. Side note, by the way, cold water on your face in the summer if you're in a bad mood and you're just feeling just splash some cold water on your face, man. That's probably a thing that a lot of people already knew, but I just figured it out just recently. What a fucking lifesaver that's been. It's just
it's great for your pores.
You get all stressed and just fucking ice cold water. I love it. Anyway,
I love when I'm stressed when somebody just puts my head in a bucket and holds me there until I almost lose consciousness. That really helps the anxiety.
I like when I'm a woefully underdressed, attractive female future scientist on a spaceship, and an unfrozen and reanimated Jason Voorhees from the 20th century shoves my face into a pool of liquid nitrogen, freezing it solid, and then smashes it to bits on the counter.
Hang on 1 second. I need to go Google how I wound up in this dialogue tree with this NPC, because this got real weird. What did I click to wind up here?
I mean, you know that scene.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But
Side note, by the way.
If you came across that in a video game, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? Can I get the bad ending?
I don't mean to sidetrack the episode too much further, but as long as I made it into that reference, in case you haven't noticed, next Friday is not just Friday the 13th, but it's Friday, June 13th, which makes it Jason Voorhees' birthday. He would be, if we base it on the year of his birth in the movie, 79, I believe.
79.
Either 78 or 79. I'm sorry.
79 sounds right.
Yeah. But, that's dope. Jason Voorhees, 79. Good on you, Jay. What a guy.
I'm going to give him some cake. I will see if I can bring cake to the theater.
Cake. Oh, yeah. There's some friends of ours that we met when we did our screening of Hellbender and Where the Devil Roams last September are organizing a birthday party for Jason Voorhees, showing Friday the 13th, the original, and then also a mystery surprise B-movie slasher that I'm always curious to see what we might be able to see when it's a surprise. But if you're in the Fargo-Moorhead area, go check that out. If you're not in the Fargo-Moorhead area, I bet somebody in your area who's a horror fan is doing something cool for Jason's birthday. Okay. Yeah. So we're still in the news?
Yes. Yes, we are.
24 and a half minutes in, we're still in the news. I appreciate you giving me that moment to sidetrack everything.
That's
okay.
all good.
Michelle, have you? I'm sorry, my ADHD
no.
is firing on all cylinders today. Have you always had those bright blue earbuds?
Yes, I sometimes wear it on the other ear though. I
Okay.
just put in one so that nobody can sneak up and murder me.
No, I was
Usually
just like,
it's on my right side.
I was like, all of a sudden, I was like, when did you become like the comms officer from Star Trek?
That's me.
No, that makes sense. Okay, please continue. I'm gonna try not to get any more distracted today.
I can only wear one so that somebody can't sneak up and kill me. Okay, so news. Some really cool stuff that I learned about, and now y'all will learn about. First off, a movie called Lice. It's a movie starring Emile Hirsch and Justin Long, and it is about parasitic lice. The director, Jonathan Ben-Simon, had this quote: "It is The Breakfast Club meets Lord of the Flies." And then from Variety, this is the description it gave. Hirsch stars as burned-out science teacher Mr. Shanker, who finds new purpose as he investigates the bloodthirsty mites. Long as Principal Van, a man who is out of his depth and soon out of his mind, and Connolly as the tenacious detective Sikorsky, the desperate cop on the outside racing against time to contain the outbreak before it consumes the entire town. Lice.
You said Emile Hirsch, and I was kind of meh, and then you said Justin Long, and I was like,
I love Emile Hirsch.
Here's my question: does it mention in any of that information what Dr. Shanker's first name is?
Not in the little bit that I read.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I was just curious. There's a couple famous guitar players, brothers Michael and Rudy Schenker, German fellas. One of them plays in Michael Schenker. I think Rudy Schenker was the lead guitar player for Scorpions. But yeah, again, this is what my brain is doing today. Please continue.
I love that he could be a burned out science teacher and a hardcore rock guy.
I'm going to go IMDb it while you tell some more news.
Excellent. The next one, I have been so beyond excited for this movie, and it's finally getting a theatrical release. I've probably mentioned it on the podcast before because I think it was getting festival, lots of festival hype, but it's called Redux. I'm just going to give you the summary from Bloody Disgusting because it makes me so excited. In an attempt to avenge her daughter's death, Irene Kelly travels through parallel universes, killing her daughter's murderer over and over again. She grows addicted to the revenge streak, putting her own humanity in jeopardy. That sounds so fucking good, and I'm excited. I don't have a date for the theatrical release yet, but the fact that I'm going to get to see that in the theater makes me very, very excited. That's been like one of like the highest things on my like I'm interested in this list, my I must find it list. So yeah, Redux.
Michelle, you said Justin Long is in this Lice movie?
Yes.
Like Justin Long from Tusk and Barbarian Justin Long?
Yes, it was just announced, so it might not have an IMDb page yet.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say it's like I don't see it listed here anyway. So that's what I misunderstood. I thought it was a coming soon. I didn't realize it was just announced. I probably would have realized that if I paid more attention.
All of this stuff is generally just stuff I learned about. Some of it will be on IMDb, some of it won't. Depends on how quickly they get to it. Sweet. Next, She Kills Them. It stars Kate Mara. From Variety, imagine if Buffy grew up to become Fleabag. While there's action and vampires, this is ultimately a grounded, character-driven romantic comedy. Think Silver Linings Playbook with the occasional kick-ass fight sequence.
Nope. That was not that was not the way they wanted to sell that movie to me. I'm sorry.
I like Silver Linings Playbook.
Well, you're entitled
to your
opinions.
Are you familiar with Fleabag?
I am absolutely not familiar with Fleabag. That's what I was Googling just now while you were talking. As I was like, what the fuck is a Fleabag?
It is a British dark comedy about this woman who's trying to get on with her life after the death of her best friend. And you never learn the woman's name. She's just called Fleabag because the writer wanted to make it very apparent that that's basically all she is. She's just not a good person right now.
Cool. Brett Gelman is in that movie.
Who is?
Brett Gelman.
Brett Gelman. No memory.
Oh, well, that's okay. Continue.
Okay. Onward. This next one, I don't think you're going to be happy about this, but I'm real thrilled.
Oh, God.
The Slashing of the Christ. Okay, take a second. Accept that the title... Okay, onward. Ice Nine Kills announced this because they put out a bunch of cryptic messages on their social media, and it turns out the lead singer of Ice Nine Kills wrote this movie. It is produced by Greg Nicotero, and I'm excited. I love Ice Nine Kills, and the Slashing of the Christ sounds dumb as hell, but I'm interested. I hope it has a good soundtrack.
I don't mean to rain on anybody's parade, but recently Ice Nine Kills put out a bunch of promotional artwork or something that was all very obviously AI generated, and people talked to them about it and tried to say, hey, it's bullshit that, you know, you're using AI generation, because obviously we all know that steals from other small-time creators. And they said, fuck you, doubled down and did more of it. So fuck them. I don't want to have anything to do with anything that band does.
I'm really sad because he's also very attractive.
Well, you know, attractive people are often assholes.
Yep.
God, I'm in a fucking mood today. Holy shit.
I'm real sad about that one.
Yeah,
but I'll forget by tomorrow and I'll go back to liking them. That's the good thing about having a memory disability, is that the information goes in. The problem occurs when I'm trying to retrieve the information. So if I never try to retrieve it, I'll be fine.
It also irritates me that they use the name Ice Nine, because that's a wonderful Kurt Vonnegut reference, and the suggest I don't know, their music is not my kind of music, and then that whole AI thing happened, and I was like, okay, goodbye.
Next, When the Light Dies. It is a horror romance directed by Kid Cudi. He's going to star.
Cudi!
Yeah,
Wasn't
Cudi.
he in X?
Yes, he was.
He was.
Yep, Scott Mescudi.
What was his name in X? Oh God, Jackson Hole.
Big old porn guy.
Jackson Hole. What a great fucking name. Sorry. Continue. ADHD.
No, it's all
bad
good.
day.
He announced it on Twitter. Says that he will star in it, and based on the tweet, I think he also wrote the script, but at the very least, he came up with the idea. I couldn't find whether he wrote the whole script or he came up with it, but it is the first full-length film that he will be directing. He's done some music videos in the past, directed those, and then he had a really cool visual album. A couple years ago, I forgot the name of it, but that was also really sweet. It was an animated thing to all his music, so I'm excited. When the Light Dies.
Here's what I know about Kid Cudi. First of all, he was in Bill and Ted Face the Music, and that was pretty cool. Also, I don't know what the specifics are, but Kanye West is beefing with Cudi, and I am all for anybody that makes Kanye West angry, because fuck that guy too.
Yeah, I agree. Onward.
Michelle's just like, Ginny, stop.
I'm like, I gotta. If I don't keep us on track, nobody will.
Oh, so this is okay. I thought you were getting upset about me telling everybody to get fucked.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm just waiting for everything I tell you for you to find a way to make it sad, and then I just let the sadness linger for a little bit and move on to the next announcement. That's the best way to do it. Just make everything a little bit sad.
Just
wait until they're the lowest they're gonna get at this moment.
Just give him his opportunity to be a sad sack, and then we'll let you move on. I see how it is.
The Michelle in Review is basically always therapy session at this point. We have our therapy moments, and it's the whole episode. This is what we're meant to do. So next one, Incidents Around the House. It is a book by Josh Malerman. It is very good. It is very spooky. And it is going to be made into a movie directed by Rob Savage. Real excited about that one. The book is one of those, it's kind of divisive in a way where people really love it or they really hate it. It's not so much in the middle, but it's essentially, the book is told from the perspective of this very young girl who is visited by somebody she calls Other Mommy, who looks like her mommy but is not her mommy and has like very creepy things, and it's them trying to save this little girl told from her perspective.
Not the
what is
mama.
going on. It is not the mama, it's other mommy.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out where I knew that name, Rob Savage. She's the host guy.
Yeah, host.
Yeah.
Then next, Sangre del Toro, a documentary about Guillermo del Toro.
Blood of Del Toro.
Blood of the Bull.
Well, yeah.
Blood del Toro.
Yeah, but I don't think they... I'm going to start calling him Guillermo of the Bull.
Oh, I do love that. I think that is much better. I agree. Is he... No, he's not Dr. Hartman in Death Stranding. I was trying to remember if that... What is the name of his character? He's like a Frankenstein character, and he's real good. Also, I have to drop everything right now. Hang on 1 second. Just deal with the silence. 1 second.
ADHD is contagious, apparently.
I'm going to my calendar. Yes, I am correct. You're not going to hear from me for several weeks starting June 26th. I'm so sorry.
Death Stranding 2.
Death Stranding 2 release date.
Oh, God.
I had to go make sure I have it in my calendar, and I have that weekend blocked off.
Starting when?
June 26th. I'm sure I'll take a break to record an episode, but then, nope, I will be locked away. I haven't decided if I'm getting on PS5 or computer yet, PC, because I think it's only coming on PlayStation, but I want it to be PC, and I haven't dug that far because I'll get too excited about it, and I'll start hunting for it in 2 weeks, and then I'll get it. But I can't like go to the store page for it and confirm because I'm gonna get so excited, and then I'm not gonna be able to handle that for 19 more days.
I know how that goes.
Yeah, so I'm just not gonna look at it. So Guillermo del Toro. He is in Death Stranding, and Death Stranding 2 comes out in 19 days, right in the middle of the summer semester. Great.
Death Stranding 2 on the beach, apparently.
Yes. Which, the first one, a lot of that took place on the beach. How are we continuing the beach?
I don't know. But you're going to be on it. I know that much. Is Margaret Qualley also going to be in Death Stranding 2 on the beach?
Also refusing to look that up because I will get way too excited if she returns.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I've watched one trailer. I have avoided everything else because it made my heart beat too fast and I thought I was going to die. So
cool. Well, I'm going to go find out and then I'm just going to tease you, be like, I know, and you don't.
If she's not, feel free to let me know. Because then I won't have my
your hopes up?
I won't have my expectations. Because I love her.
Well, I'll tell you this much: the Wikipedia page doesn't say either way, at least as far as I can tell. So,
jerks. Well, I'll report back sometime after June 26th because I'm gonna 100% that game.
Sometime around August,
July. Oh, please! I'm gonna have that thing done so fast. The first one, I did nothing else for 2 weeks. I did every side quest. I built the full fucking road. You're telling me there's a game where 90% of the point is that you like have a gigantic backpack that you just load up with all this shit and you can rearrange it so that it balances better so that you can collect even more parcels and then you just run across the land to deliver them to people? It's a mailman simulator in a post-apocalyptic world. There's a mechanic that lets you pee on things and grow the grass back. You have a tiny little baby who laughs when you're like running around because he's really happy. But sometimes if you like fall off a cliff, he gets hurt and he starts crying. So then you have to take your PS5 controller and just rock it side to side like you're rocking the baby until he feels better and then he stops crying. There's also like really spooky monsters and stuff, but fuck that. I wanted to be a mailman. I'm so excited for the sequel. I'll defend that game until the day I die, which will be soon probably. So, Strange Arrivals, starring Coleman Domingo and Demi Moore. It is the story of Betty and Barney Hill. Who are Betty and Barney Hill, you wonder? They're one of the most well-known alien abduction stories, and they kind of like laid the groundwork for a lot of people when they reported that they got aliened. And the best part about Betty and Barney Hill is that Barney did not want to talk about it, did not want to do interviews, wanted to forget that it happened to him. Betty talked to everyone who would listen. So Barney had to unfortunately continue telling this story that he considered very traumatic and clearly was not interested in becoming famous over. And Betty was like, yeah, but have you heard about the aliens and them trying to impregnate me? Great. I'm so excited. I know it's going to be serious, but like Betty and Barney Hill are kind of funny. And I'm excited for both reasons. So, and Coleman Domingo can do no wrong in my eyes. I've seen him in Fear the Walking Dead. He's in Euphoria. He stars in several things that I just blanked out on because I love his character in Euphoria so much. Great actor. Love his voice. I need him to narrate a lot of stuff. He has a great voice. And then my last announcement for the month. I am realizing how video game centric this one has been. Hopefully people like video games because A24 has acquired the film rights to Elden Ring and it will be directed by Alex Garland. If there's anybody I think would put together a weird enough movie to justify making a movie about Elden Ring, Alex Garland is definitely like top of the list. He's the one who brought us Men. He's the one who brought us Sunshine back in the early 2000s. Annihilation. I think he just wrote that
Ex
one.
Machina.
He directed. Yeah, Ex Machina. So yeah, I want to see what he does with Elden Ring. That's a good property for him to have.
I'm sorry. This is completely unrelated to anything. For some reason, I just switched over to my web browser and it was on my Facebook window and there is a video playing in the middle of the screen of 3 cops trying to arrest somebody in downtown Fargo.
Yes.
And he just punches all 3 of them in the face and runs off.
Runs away.
Just fucking decks all 3 of them and takes off.
The female cop
he can't even,
decked
he can barely
hard.
keep his pants on and he's just hauling ass.
He's getting charged with possession of meth. Do you find that surprising given the
Not
video?
remotely. God, he did. He clocked that lady cop. Holy God. She did
The
not
comments
see
are all
that
like, this is a
coming.
bad look for the police.
Well, yeah.
He took 3 police on and won.
Also, I mean, nobody's going to want to say it this way, but it's a pretty good look for meth. Dude took on 3 cops and got away, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
His biggest concern was holding up his pants. That was the only thing that looked like it took some effort.
God. Anyway, I'm sorry. That was a
that's-
beautiful, oh, look at Kitty, except the kitty is a dude punching cops and running away.
So good. Highly recommend watching that movie. The video of 3 Fargo police officers get knocked out by a guy on meth as they try to arrest him.
Well, I'll link it in the description of this episode.
Yes, absolutely. If you want to see a guy deck 3 of our local police officers and then take off running while several people just stand on the sidewalk and watch.
I have made a note. Link the cop punching video.
Good. Absolutely. It's real good. Okay, on to horror.
Like that's going viral, right? Like that. I don't even need to put a link to it. That's going. I don't need to link it. You know the video by now if you're listening to this.
Oh,
yeah.
I hope so. Fargo's finally famous, and that's what we're famous for. When our local police battle a guy on meth. Oh, okay. Horror in the after times. For those who haven't listened before, hello. I know we are 43 minutes in and haven't gotten to any reviews. This is, I would usually say this is how it always is, but JD is in a particularly traumatic mood today, so I do think it's a little more off topic than usual. But you know what? Fuck it. This is a free thing that we do just as an excuse to talk about things.
You see, what happened is right before we started recording, Michelle
I
asked
ruined
me some questions about some things. And it's not your fault. You just, you happened to step into a situation that you didn't know you were stepping into. but the dominoes started falling. And also, I don't know why my ADHD is so wacky. Like, I'm taking my meds, but for some reason, I'm just fucking scattered today. It's probably the intense stress you put me under just before we started recording this episode.
Yeah. I think I should just make you spiral before every episode.
No!
Make this your podcast personality.
Wait, it isn't already?
Well, good point. Sometimes you're in a real good mood. You did start the episode off by chanting our theme song.
Well, I mean, that's... I'm a professional, Michelle. No, I'm not.
Okay, horror in the after times, a.k.a. new horror, a.k.a. post-COVID, because that was how I decided to separate these. I didn't want to pick an actual year. That sounded awful. So some of them are even during COVID and could go in any category. So 3 things in the horror in the after times. One, just going to very briefly mention this. I got to watch one of the movies that we will have playing at the Darkest Day of Horror Film Festival.
Ooh, was it Somnium?
It was Somnium. Somnium, really fucking great. Very happy that I got to see it so much earlier than so many people did. Unless you come to the film festival in a couple weeks, you guys, then you can check it out. But it's fantastic. I've been excited for this one, and that meant when you got it for the film festival, I was excited and also very worried. Because generally, if I get excited about something, it's bad. But it was not. It was good. I liked it a whole bunch.
Yeah,
it's about sleep studies that go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be clear, this is yet again a movie that had not been on my radar at all because my radar is mostly inactive. And so when we got the list of options, all I needed was Michelle said, hey, let's do Somnium if we can. And I said, yep, let's do it.
Yeah, I was so excited about it.
It is a really it's a really fantastic film. Chloe Levine is amazing in it. Yes. Wildest thing well, I don't want to talk about that. We'll talk about that another time. I was going to start going into the film, but we don't need to do that here.
No, I figure when it gets released, I think it comes out in July and August for
I believe
all
so,
those
yeah.
normies. So we'll talk about once
through
more people
through Yellow Veil Pictures. Shout out Yellow Veil.
Our friends at Yellow Veil.
Our friends at Yellow Veil.
Friends.
Joe.
Somebody from Yellow Veil is listening, and they're like, "What the fuck? We don't even like you guys. What the fuck? You guys suck."
Nobody from Yellow Veil is listening. Michelle,
they've never made a friendship
yourself.
bracelet for me. If I sent them a friendship bracelet, they would send it back as undeliverable.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
horror in the after times.
Horror in the
Somnium.
after times. Somnium. See it when you get a chance, guys, for sure.
Yes. I'm going to save the one that you and I both watched for last so that you have a good chance to talk for a bit. And then I am going to tell you one that you have not seen yet, but it is top 5 for me of the year with no surprise whatsoever. Final Destination Bloodlines fucking rocks. Here's the thing. I love Final Destination. I love how cheesy they are, but they also legitimately used to make me so uncomfortable. I could not handle the level of tension from those movies. It made oh god, it made me so nauseous, and I love that. I love that movie. Makes me feel something. Final Destination 3, although Final Destination 2, the log scene is iconic. Final Destination 3, the roller coaster deaths at the beginning, one of my favorite Final Destination catastrophes, we could say. There's a surprising amount of practical effects. They do CGI as little as possible. One of the producers from the 6 films goes into depth on a YouTube video that I think is around 40 minutes long and completely worth it, explaining how all of the deaths from the movies were done, and it's so cool. He's like, yeah, it looks like the guy's getting sliced in half, and that's because the top half is the actor and the bottom half is the prosthetic, and we just angled the camera here and then had them slice so that the actor went one way and the prosthetic went the other way. Hearing that breakdown is so cool. It gives me more respect for the movies. Final Destination Bloodlines, it's been a while since we had the 5th Final Destination, so I was feeling real nervous about why do we have to revamp this franchise that was just fine with the ending of the 5th one. That was a good cap on it. But this movie blew my mind with how good it was. I brought my brother and my other brother's girlfriend and a couple other people, but most importantly those two who had never seen any Final Destination films. So I gave them a crash course, just here's what you might need to know before you go into it. Here's what happens in the first 5, like a quick, like 5-10 minute summary. And despite not seeing any of the others, they loved it. It is really great for people who are new to the franchise and haven't seen anything else, but it's also really good at hitting those nostalgia notes for those of us who do love the original and hearing, or the original 5, and hearing, like interweaving little things where we're like, haha, I know what that's a reference to. And most importantly, Tony Todd has a speech that his character gives about living every day.
Hold
to
it
the
together,
fullest.
Michelle. Hold it together.
I'm holding it. I did almost cry during a Final Destination film, though, and that was a weird
I've heard
sensation.
really good things.
Because it's not just put in there in a jarring way. It is exactly the type of thing that his character, who is very cryptic, he's been in some of the other films. I think the first 3. I know the first 2 for sure. I think his last appearance was the 3rd. But he's always been like a cryptic, mysterious guy who just shows up to be like, let me tell you what death's all about. So then Tony Todd knew he was terminally ill, worked with the director to write something that his character would say as a send-off to the fans. And it is beautiful. It is an incredible speech, and I'm so happy that that's what we will remember him by.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that I've heard enough about that, like, I don't want to just see a clip of it at some point, right? Because part of respecting him and the work he's done is to at least, see the entire film. So at some point, even though I think I've only seen the first 2 Final Destination films, I will definitely see this out of respect for Tony Todd and to be able to see that scene in its context. But yeah, I've heard lots and lots of good things about it, and it's really cool that they got a chance to do that. Also, I'm sorry, just really cool to me because, like, I'm the kind of person who, like, I don't think I would have the strength to do that, right? Like, I don't know if I could get into that and be that personal, because, like, I'm somebody who knows me long enough will learn very eventually that we'll learn eventually that I am terrified of death. And so, yeah, I just really impressive when somebody is able to face their end with that level of dignity and character.
I can handle a terminally ill diagnosis for myself. I could not handle it for any of my loved ones. That's the thing that I can't handle their death a lot. Like, I can handle my own because I won't know. Or I'll be in heaven watching as an angel with a little halo and a harp.
Those are the only options, right?
Yep, those are the 2 options. And they're going to be like, you're in Christian heaven. And I'll be like, no, this is my hell. And they're going to laugh so hard. And they're going to be like, the only food that we have are red wine and those little wafers you get for communion. And guess what? You're just in time for gospel hour. And then it's just an hour of standing in a church and singing, and you can't sit down or they zap you.
Here's what I think, Michelle, is so you eat the communion wafers and drink the wine on earth because they're emblematic, some would say even literally because of transubstantiation, become the body and blood of Christ. But once you get to heaven, Christ is there.
Yeah.
So what
and they're
if
just slaying him and he's just screaming?
Like, what if every meal you eat in heaven, you just gotta like walk? Like, what if it's like a Sisyphus thing, where everybody in heaven devours Christ's body and blood every day, and every morning he's reborn, and he must continuously be devoured, his blood and body and bone.
That's a movie I'd watch.
Yeah.
Regeneration of the Christ.
Copyright. Regeneration of the Christ.
Of the Christ.
Just call it the Resurrection and put it out and don't tell anybody what it's about.
Make the trailer look like a Passion of the Christ thing, but oh no, it's not.
Oh, it's the cannibalism of the Christ.
Oh man.
Although, would it be cannibalism? Because, I mean, are they? Yeah, or even are dead people still human? Christ is definitely not the same as them, right? This is way too far down the rabbit hole. Let's continue, please.
I hope he tastes like bacon.
Hey, Mom!
I have a feeling... Oh.
I think my mom went to bed.
Oh.
No, oh well.
Okay.
Sorry,
Well,
that
it
was
is
totally
9:19.
random. I just, out of nowhere, realized it was very, very silent out in the other room.
Little too silent. She's probably sleeping. She's doing a
Probably.
good snooze. My Bloodlines thing I was going to say is that I have a feeling that despite only knowing the first two and feeling kind of indifferent to them, that you are going to watch this and love it. It is one of those movies where several times in the theater people clapped. And it was not like an annoying, like, settle the fuck down. It was a, like, this deserves, like, a lot of response from the audience. It is really good.
I get the feeling it's going to be a rather similar experience for me as to what, like, another movie, which I actually just watched again because I wanted to give it another chance, Smile 2, where, like, a lot of the horror sequences and a lot of that part of it I really enjoy. You know, a lot of the death sequences, I'm sure in and of themselves, I will find rather entertaining. But beyond that, I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
I actually would put this more on par with The Monkey.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like, you might not care about the story, but, oh, those moments are completely worth watching. Yeah. Okay, last one. I'm not going to say a whole lot about it. I'll let JD say all the things because I went on YouTube and I missed 90% of the symbolism in this film. All I know is that surface level, I liked it. In fact, I loved it. In fact, I want some more of it. Sinners deserves all the praise it is getting. I was very worried that it would be too hyped and I would not like it, a la Godzilla -1, because everybody said that was the best movie of the year, and then I finally saw it and I had my expectations too high and I went, yeah, it was fine, but I don't get it. But Sinners, I get it. I 100% get it. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on. I'll just let JD talk about it.
Yeah, I don't. I also don't want to go into it in too significant detail because I know we talked about it and we're planning to do a full breakdown episode when it becomes available for streaming. You know, on
Which
I
it
think
is.
it's good. Well, not it's available like to pay for.
Oh, for renting.
Yeah, for
Yeah, to
rent
pay
or purchase. I'd rather wait and do it when it's more readily available to people. I think it's going to be on it's either Paramount or Peacock, I think is where it's going to be. But so we'll definitely dive into it, but holy shit, what a fucking movie. Like one of the things about it is there's a couple of things about it that you'd think I would have known going in that I didn't know, and I was
The big
so
one?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and I'm not even going to tell you what it is. I had no idea that was the case, and then it happened, and I was like, oh shit. And the degree to which the people involved or the person involved pulled it off, incredible. I definitely wish I hadn't known going in that it was a vampire movie, which I hate to say, but it's something that's been talked about extensively in promotions and interviews. Yeah.
The trailer, I had a suspicion.
Yeah, I would have preferred to not know that. I almost would have preferred to not know it was going to become a horror movie at all. Like, what a shock that shift would have been. But this is... look, Ryan Coogler is very obviously, like, top of the heap right now. One of the very, very best filmmakers we have. He's made 5 films. Every one of them he's directed has also starred Michael B. Jordan, who is fucking incredible. Haley Stanfield is... The whole cast is incredible in this movie. It's an incredible script. It's visually stunning. It is loaded with symbolism. It has a lot of like religious connotation going on, a lot of implications about a lot of things. This is the one I want to mention, but I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to. There is one sequence in this film that in itself might, like, it's top 10 easily, might be top 5 favorite individual scenes or sequences from any movie ever. It's so fucking incredible. And the movie itself Also, just overall, what an incredible story, incredibly made. I would like if the scale went to it's a 5-skull scale, I would give it 6. It's so fucking good. If I see a better movie this year, it will be the best movie I have ever seen in my life.
One correction.
Yeah?
Wakanda Forever does not have Michael B. Jordan. It's the only
He's
one
not?
he does not star.
Yeah, but did Coogler direct that?
Yeah.
He did? Mm-hmm. Sorry. I was wrong.
Okay. I just,
Thanks.
I went on his IMDb to confirm because I was like, I'm pretty sure Wakanda Forever. No, Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan.
I appreciate you taking a moment to point out the one thing I got wrong that I'm now going to obsess over for the rest of the episode.
You definitely should.
Thanks.
I wanted to see because I was like, really have
No.
all 5 of his films? Because I've never seen Fruitvale Station or Creed. Creed, I knew Michael B. Jordan starred in, but Fruitvale Station, I had to go look that one up. And I was like, oh, well, I'm here. I'll confirm. But no, not even in it.
No, you're right. Of course, we all know what happens to his character in the first Black Panther. But I can't say enough good things about it. Everything you've heard about it is true, and a whole bunch of other things. What a fucking phenomenal movie. It should win everything at the end of the year.
I hope so. Also, I don't know if it's out yet, but Ryan Coogler said that the soundtrack was going to be incredible, and I'm real excited. That blues, the blues in that is so good.
The guy that did the music is somebody that Coogler also has collaborated with quite a bit. I forget his name, but music in general just plays a huge part in the film. I would definitely like that. The soundtrack, you know what sequence I'm talking about, of course. Just the music from that sequence, holy fucking shit. Man, yeah, so good.
Thrilled to tell you, it has been released. It is 22 tracks, and the most played track from it is Rocky Road to Dublin.
Okay.
So I will be listening to that after we're done. And while I'm playing, I have no mouth and I must scream.
Also, I have mentioned it on our social media, but Haley Steinfeld has a moment in this movie that fucked me up. That's all I'm gonna say.
It will haunt you for years.
Fucked me up.
You're infatuated.
Whoa.
Is that when you had to go splash the cold water on yourself and you're like, oh, this is refreshing?
I didn't leave the theater, but I almost had to. Anyway.
Pee Wee Herman moment.
No, stop it. Michelle, no, hey, go see Sinners. See it. Obviously, see it as soon as you can is what I would say. Some of you, are gonna have to wait till it's on the streams, but yeah,
if you have
this
money,
one,
rent it, support them. I'm gonna buy it, and I'm also buying a physical copy. I just want it.
Here's what I'll tell you. Yeah, absolutely. If you can pay for it, this is one that's absolutely worth paying for.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, but there's no good new ideas in movies anymore, Michelle. No good ideas.
We've gotten to the sad part. I was worried that we would talk about a movie that we both really liked for too long. And I'm really glad that you brought us right back down with the complaint about a fictional person.
Yeah, it's just, oh, God. Anyway, yeah, I'm just going to keep rambling about how much I loved that movie if we don't move on, so.
I will cut you off to go to horror in the before times, aka older horror, aka pre-COVID, because there's a lot of stuff from the early 2000s that I haven't seen yet and had on my list, so that's why I did it in, that batch. I know it's not very old horror, but it's because there's so much stuff I still need to see from the early 2000s. So, the first one, though, on this list, 1997. Little bit of backstory. Our friend Payer says this is his favorite horror movie, and so I had to watch it, and I decided to watch it while I was on an emergency flight to Denver, Colorado. I was very stressed out. I was on the plane. I decided that this was the time that I would sit down with my tablet. I put my phone on airplane mode, and I live tweeted him with no service and sent him about 50 messages so that when my phone got turned off of airplane mode, he got fucking bombarded. In that movie, Wishmaster. Holy shit.
You've never seen Wishmaster?
No,
Michelle,
I thought it was a B movie. I had no fucking clue.
Michelle, I saw...
No, but I mean, like, so bad it's not good.
Oh.
It is fucking great.
Oh, it's fabulous. I saw that in the theater when it was brand new. Hell yes. Wishmaster is a trip.
Oh my God.
That movie is
I
a
didn't
trip.
expect... The first few minutes of the film immediately start with insane practical effects. And I was like, fuck, I did not know this is what was going to happen. And then I was like tweeting him. Essentially, that's what I'm calling it, like live tweeting as I'm messaging him and being like, oh shit, can't believe the wish turned out that way. Oh my God, can't believe the wish turned out that way. Wait, I don't understand the rules of the wishes. Never mind, he just explained the rules of the wishes. Great. Oh my God, it delivers.
Yeah, it's a...
I haven't seen the other two yet, but I absolutely will be. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
I love Wishmaster a lot.
Yeah. Next, I'm just going to give a shout out to 2 movies I watched because I love them, but we don't have to talk about them much. They're older. Everybody either likes or dislikes them at this point, and they have opinions about them, or they haven't seen them and they probably never will. First off, one of my all-time favorites doesn't hold up as well as I remember it, but still has so much nostalgia that I love it all the same. Resident Evil from 2002. I love that form of zombie. I love Mia Jovovich kicking some ass in that red dress with the gun holster around the thigh. Love that. Love the sequence with the lasers. I won't say more just in case anybody does still need to see it. Also, love that it was originally a fucking video game. Again, video game. Resident Evil from 2002 is fucking great. And also, when I was in high school, my high school sweetheart set his computer so that it had a Resident Evil theme. So when you unlocked it, it was the sound of a gun cocking. When you logged off, it was the little girl saying, "You're all going to die down here." And like all these different quotes. So as I'm watching the movie, I'm just thinking of like me sitting at his computer at the same time. Like it's real fucking good. I also miss Windows having themes like that. Like, I don't even know if I could set a Resident Evil theme right now where, like, clicking the mouse would give me, like, a little roar of a zombie. Like, that. I need that. I need that back. I'm gonna go look it up after this. And then my other one, Edge of Tomorrow from 2014. I fucking love this film. I like anything that's a time loop. I think it is Tom Cruise's best film. I have a hard time looking at him because he's a very weird human, but I like this movie a whole bunch. Just in case people don't know, Resident Evil, I'm assuming you know it's zombies. If you've gotten this far, you probably know enough about horror to know that Resident Evil is zombies. Edge of Tomorrow is Tom Cruise, who is like a high-ranking military person. I don't know what the ranks are. And he gets sent to the front line and put in essentially like a mech suit and told that he has to go fight the aliens. And so he's on the front line, but then he gets almost killed by an alien, but doesn't, because he wakes up the day before. And now he's just in a loop trying to help them defeat the aliens. And Emily Blunt is there.
Yep, I saw that movie in the theater as well.
You don't like that one?
I wasn't a big fan. I don't hate it by any means. Here's what I know is it's called Edge of Tomorrow, and it had a tagline that was live, die, repeat. And then at one point, the way they were marketing the movie, I don't know if it was ever official or not, but it very much started to seem like they had just changed the name of the movie to live, die, repeat. Like, you could, like, all the images and stuff they would put out, they barely mentioned the title of the film at all. It was super weird.
I do not know anything about that.
Yeah. Live, die, repeat.
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Okay. This last one. I debated whether I was going to include it on my list because it is fucked up. Here's the deal. I had this list, or I had this on a while, or let me try. Had this on my watch list for a while. Recently learned about Canopy, which is a streaming service that I get through my school, and it gives me access to a lot of documentaries that have been on my list for a long time. One of them, Whore's Glory from 2011, which is just sex workers around the world and how bad their lives are. I'm not saying that sex work is bad. I support it completely. This is not the glorious side of it. It's very depressing.
And sex work is so oppressive because of its severe restriction and disrespect. If it was accepted as a viable profession, it could be protected and standardized and
all of that.
Yeah.
Yes. So, real
it's
sad.
It's not the fucking that created their troubles.
No, it is the society. And then Assassins was another one from 2020 about the two girls who killed Kim Jong-un's brother and how they thought it was a prank TV show. That's a very interesting story, but there's a whole documentary going into it, a lot more in depth. But this documentary, here's what happened. I started watching it, and then about 10-15 minutes in, I went, oh, I thought this was a documentary. This is a fictional movie? Okay, well, that's fine. And then I kept watching and I went, this might be a fucking documentary. And I had to pause it and Google because I was so blown away by the fact that people were filming this. It is called Black Metal Veins. It is from 2012. And it is about a group of people who are addicted to crack cocaine and heroin. And when I saw that it was created by Lucifer Valentine, everything made sense. Because I think he's one of the few people who could make a movie like this and watch people actively ruining their lives and overdosing and raping an unconscious lady and just like be in that room at the same time. It's wild. It's very upsetting.
Yeah.
And it's horrifying.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen or heard of that, JD?
No, I've seen, I watched about 10-15 minutes or so of one of his earlier films.
Actual films.
From his Vomit Gore trilogy, which is the same sort of shit. I have no interest in this, right? The way you describe it, to me, Lucifer Valentine is an exploitational to the nth degree. Like the stuff you're just talking about. Like this guy, I don't think there's anything brave about what he does. I think he's a severe, damaged, demented person who takes joy in presenting disgusting things to people in a very... Like, I feel like there's no intention to anything he does except to be disgusting, and I have no interest in that.
Out of the other things you've watched, because I have not watched anything else, I didn't even realize this was him until I watched it. Was anything else a documentary?
No.
All of his other stuff is fictional, right?
Well...
Or the stuff you're familiar with?
Fictional in the sense of there's a rudimentary plot assembled for the events. Not fictional in the sense that most of what happens is actually happening and it's just framed as if it's a story.
I gotcha.
You know,
okay, it is a torture porn situation?
Yeah, very, and like, the impression I get from it is it's very much one of those, like, yeah, in a technical way, everybody involved was consenting, but there's obvious intoxication and other things involved. It feels like somebody, like, if I understand correctly, there have been at least one, if not a couple of people from his quote-unquote fictional films that have died because of things that, like, you know, like he's got movies where he basically just gets anorexic women to let him film them purge, or not anorexic, but bulimic women, just letting him film them purge themselves, and then have violent, almost aggressive, like violational sex with them, and kill them. And it's just, it's that kind of person who somewhere along the line, and look, if this sounds awfully judgmental, and if you want to talk about that on another level, we definitely can, from a filmmaking perspective, look, fine, whatever, do whatever it is you're gonna do, but I don't understand the drive to. The only thing that makes any sense to me at all from this is I just wanted to take advantage of and exploit a very, very troubling and disturbing and sad situation, not because I want to bring any attention to it, but just because I want the notoriety of being the person who showed that to you.
Fair. Completely fair. Yeah, I haven't watched any of his stuff because I can't do vomit. I can't. Even saying the word makes me almost gag.
And that's
all of his movies.
And again, I don't mean this as a judgment in any way, but what's interesting to me about that is you can't handle vomit, and I can't handle people essentially raping somebody who's unconscious. So,
I mean, also disgusting, but I don't also begin vomiting.
No, I understand. It's I know what you're saying.
It's a physical response that
right.
I can't
Yeah,
control.
it's a very real thing. Emetophilia is a very real thing. I don't think that's what they call it, emetophilia. I think but it's, what is it? Sympathetic vomiting? That's what I was trying to get to.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly
similar to yawning. Yeah, I get it. But
yep. No, it's definitely a yawning reaction. Like, there was one time my friend was over, and I won't name her just in case she does not want to be named, but she got way too drunk and started throwing up in the bathroom we were hanging out downstairs in the family room, and I went, sorry, I have to go. And I went upstairs and I sent my husband down to check on her, because I want to be the friend, the ride or die, the person who will hold your hair back. I have never been that person. I never will, because we will both be vomiting by the end of it, and I can't do that. That's not going to help anyone.
That's
I
fair.
have to just run away instead. I will save you by saving myself.
That's fair.
But yeah, Black Veins, one of the saddest documentaries I've seen in my entire life. And I did include it under horror for that reason. Now, some non-horror. I was in a documentary mood. So these first two are additional documentaries. The first one, oh man, I've been so fucking excited for this movie. I cried 3 minutes into it. I did not stop crying. Every Little Thing was a movie. It's a documentary about hummingbirds that I've been excited about since last year. And I am such a crazy bird person that they started the movie and I went, oh shit, I've read a book with this lady in it. Like, I knew the rehabilitator of hummingbirds that this documentary is about because of a book I'd read that also had her in it. But it's a woman who takes in baby hummingbirds who are found, I think, around the New York area, LA area. LA, that would make way more sense. And she takes them and she raises them. And so you're getting to know all the little birds and how fragile they are, and many of them will not make it because it is a cruel world, and if they've been abandoned, there's a lot required to get them back to health. A lot of the people who find the hummingbirds do not treat them well before bringing them to rehab. They handle them too much. It's really sad, but I also cried happy tears, and it was a great documentary, and I'm such a fucking sensitive person when it comes to anything bird related. God damn it. Woodrow.
Don't cry, Michelle. Don't cry.
I won't. The only time I've cried on this podcast was talking about I Am Legend. And it'll never happen again. I have no emotions. But yeah, Every Little Thing. I loved it. If you like hummingbirds,
I have no emotions.
Yeah, I wish. I would love to not have emotions.
Yeah, wouldn't that be rad? Yeah.
That'd be so good. Then my other one, completely other end of the spectrum, Implosion, the Titanic sub-disaster, is a documentary about the Titan submersible that killed a billionaire or millionaire and a bunch of people who paid to go on the sub so that they could go see the Titanic. And I thought, well, the story is already there. It's a guy with too much hubris who built a submersible that couldn't withstand the pressure and imploded. That's all the story is. No. This guy thought his submersible was going to be so successful that he hired a documentary film crew to follow him around. So we have footage from all the tests beforehand, or not all, but quite a few tests before the disaster and how terribly those went and all the failures. Like, there was a lot leading up to the Titan submersible implosion. And halfway through the movie, one of the guys said something that I completely agree with and really felt enlightening, is that this guy was so committed that he knew he was going to die, and it didn't start out as a murder-suicide, but it definitely became that at the end. He knew this sub was going to fail at some point, and he just kept going because he could not admit that he was wrong. And the documentary is shocking. I thought I knew all the stuff about this, but holy shit, there's so much footage because this guy was so arrogant that he had a documentary film crew to film the failures.
And not just him, and again, obviously, now that you've seen the documentary, you know significantly more than I do, but if memory serves, like, none of these people who went were, like they were aware of what was going on.
Not.
They were not.
No, they were not.
Oh.
That's the thing. They did not let it out that this guy had many failures of this submersible, and many, like, it just stopped moving. They had to get a different one because this one was cracking and was about to implode, and they hadn't even tested this new one. They had no idea. They thought that they were getting around the guidelines by not being paying passengers. Instead, they were told that they're like co-pilots or something, and they paid him money to go on the sub. Many people did this beforehand and never got to go see the Titanic because it failed partway through, and he didn't refund their money. He just said, well, you can come on a later venture with us then.
And you see,
but they had no idea.
Well, that's the thing to me, though, is you said if they had tried this many times before and people had paid to go and they didn't go because those other submersibles failed, how did nobody know? Like, did they just say, no, sorry, we're not going, and then not give them the money back?
They interviewed some of the people who were on the failed expeditions, and these guys didn't even consider it that big of a deal. They just were planning on rescheduling later. They're like, yeah, it failed once. And so nobody got the word out that this thing was a complete failure. And they made it to the Titanic, I think, once.
And you see, that's the part that's so hard for me to believe, because even if it was a minor failure and they just thought, well, we'll try again later, they still would have told people that it didn't work. They would have told people.
They were indifferent. These are millionaires who are just like, yeah, it's just another thing to do.
But what I'm saying, in their daily life, like, they would have gone home and told their friends, yeah, we tried to go, but the sub failed. People knew. There's no way at all that those missions failed and nobody knew. That's just not possible.
The people who knew were indifferent. So the news did not spread to other people who were about to go on the expedition. They had no idea. This other millionaire told his wife, and they went, oh, that sucks, we'll go again later. Like, they did not know this was a reoccurring thing. That kept covered up. They did not tell them that this was a different sub altogether. There were, like, many people who were part of the documentary crew who had to, like, dig to get info that this one had never made it to the Titanic.
I don't know. I find that element of everything very, very hard to believe.
Fair. So the other thing I watched that was non-horror, I watched both Lilo and Stitches.
How much of that am I going to edit out?
None of it, I hope.
I don't think you understand how long that just went.
Let the pressure build, like the pressure building outside a submersible that you insist must be carbon fiber, because it is clearly the best way to build a submersible, even though everybody who's an expert in that field is telling you there's a reason we don't make them with carbon fiber.
I will say this, the one thing that I do remember from that story that I do also want to point out, though, is out of all the terrible design flaws in that submersible, they caught a lot of shit because the thing was piloted with like an Xbox controller, and fuck you, that was probably the only sensible element of the design in the entire thing. That's people who don't understand how actually intricate those controllers are and what you can do with them. And so cut them some slack for using an Xbox controller, but Jesus Christ.
Even a documentary about a sub includes video games. We have found a way to keep bringing it back every time. L1X, maybe they needed the Konami code and they would have been fine because it gives you infinite lives. I'm real proud of that concept.
Rich people talk, Michelle. That's all I'm saying. Rich people talk.
I think they're just mumbling.
And then when
coherently
things
on
go
camera.
bad, they try to paint themselves as victims.
These people don't even try and make themselves victims. They're just like, yeah, no, I thought, like, they're not even trying to be victims. They're like, no, I just didn't think it was that bad. It's indifference more than anything, and that's why it's shocking. Okay, Lilo and Stitch. I watched both of them. We don't need to get into the gigantic difference that they made with the live action. I will say one thing. Disney live action films should be illegal. Stop remaking things that I love that were created during my lifetime. Wait until I'm dead. Give it 100 years and then do it. Stop just immediately remaking films so that you can retain the rights for them. Stop it. Lilo and Stitch is one of my favorite Disney films. I love it. I heard very controversial things about the live action film, so then I had to go check that out. And it's very weird when these movies choose to do a shot-for-shot remake and then do something completely not shot-for-shot. It makes it even more jarring. But for those who might go watch Lilo and Stitch, the live action, there's a very controversial thing that happens in it, and people are really upset. But I think it shows a family dynamic that some kids have never seen represented in a film and might actually need to see that there are people like them. I think this is a case of representation. As someone who is in who was in a very similar situation, I get it. I understand why it exists, and I actually really like the live action. The guy that they got to play Human Pinkley was great. And also Stitch is just as adorable, and the girl who plays Lilo, spot on, 100%. I really liked it. I went in expecting to hate it, and that's why I watched it. I was going to hate watch the live action Lilo and Stitch. But then I loved it. And then I found out that my husband had never seen Lilo and Stitch, so I made him watch it last night. And I laughed so fucking hard at so many parts, and I felt ashamed at all of them. Why is that movie so good? It is really good.
Did he laugh out loud at a lot of the parts?
No. No, he did not. The soundtrack is half Elvis. I listened to it a lot. I learned how to do sign language for half of the soundtrack just because that was a thing I decided to do. So I used to be able to sign the lyrics to a lot of Elvis songs when I was in high school because it was a fun pastime. Holy shit, Lilo and Stitch is great. Have you heard that movie? Have you heard of Lilo and Stitch? It's real good.
Yeah, I saw it in the
Real
theater, Michelle.
Yeah, it's a real good movie.
It's all right.
It's by an alien. His name's Stitch.
Yeah.
He's just a little bit broken.
Experiment 66.
Yeah. The show sucks, though. Don't watch the show. They
No,
bring out all the other experiments. And they're
with-
like, this is 413 and he loves sandwiches. It's stupid.
As with so many things in pop culture right now, without even trying, several things about the remake have already been spoiled for me. I have no urgency whatsoever to see it. I wasn't a huge fan, and not that I had anything against it. It's just it's not one of my personal favorite Disney animated films. So it's whatever.
Stitch is a chaotic demon, and I love him. Well, last thing.
Family.
It does, and family means no one gets left behind or forgotten.
Or forgotten.
Okay, literature.
Literature.
Like I said, there is nothing that I can put or can say that I completed in May.
Oh shit, we gotta hurry up. I gotta leave for work in 15 minutes.
Okay, if you stop interrupting me, I promise I can do it in that 15 minutes. Okay, so several books that I'm in the middle of. First off, I've been reading We Wish to Inform You That Tomorrow We Will Be Killed with Our Families and the Plutonium Files for many months now. I will continue reading them for many months. They're very dense books and very sad in a lot of different ways. So I'll report back. I'm also rereading Wicked. That's been fun. I started that one in December. I'm halfway through the Department of Truth comic series. Hopefully I finish that in June because it's only 2 more comics left. The Woods Are Dark by Richard Lehman, which is a book of his short stories. And so I got through half of that. We'll continue. Tender is the Flesh. Apparently right now I'm on a kick for humans being treated as livestock and eaten because I also watched Soylent Green for the first time this month. And then last month I read cows, and then that other one, oh, they all died screaming. Apparently I'm just in a slaughterhouse mood. But the big one that I'm in the middle of and have been binging every chance I get is S by Doug Dorst and J.J. Abrams. It is ergodic literature, which means that it is a book that takes significant effort to read. It's similar to House of Leaves, except that it's way cooler. Actually, House of Leaves has like some really cool stuff that I've never seen in a different type of movie. But this one, there's like other stuff. I think I said movie instead of book. But there's other stuff in there. And I have been waiting for like a year to buy it. And it was 50% off. So then I got it. And it's thrilling. And it's great. Literature.
I'm like, again, everybody do you, but I'm still fascinated by the idea of taking a book and making it harder.
It's more like a, did somebody, what did they say? It wasn't an escape room, like a murder mystery. It might have been escape room is what they considered it, because you get all these additional clues that are really good. It's real good. I don't want to say anything because you just have to buy the book. It's $60, which sucks. But get for 50% off like I did. And then you can justify $30 for a really good, pretty hardcover book. Do it.
Or if you just want to read it, you can probably find a download somewhere.
You absolutely cannot. It's not that kind of book.
Oh, well.
You have to have a physical copy.
So, in other words, that's actually the whole reason it exists, is to sidestep piracy.
Oh. No. Okay. That's the end of Michelle in Review. You go to work.
Nah, it's been an evening. It's hot, it's weird, my mood is terrible. How's your mood, Michelle?
Also slightly irritable.
Am I really gonna leave all of that shit in there about ranting and raving about not believing nobody knew?
I hope so.
Okay. If you insist. Okay. All right, yeah, I gotta.
Say good night, JD.
I gotta. Good night, JD.